Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So great to have you here with me. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm really excited about today's topic. It's going to be short and quick and to the point, and it's going to pack a punch, and guess what? It's the number one weight loss secret most people miss. So I'm glad you're here. This is the right place to be if you struggle with food and weight and you're sick and tired of diets. The solution I'm going to give you has nothing to do with diets. So, first of all, if you have not been a part of 10 Weeks to Freedom from Emotional Eating, what are you waiting for? This is a proven plan and system for overcoming emotional eating. I mean, this is amazing, and we actually have a new group forming right now. So check it out at healyourhunger.com. It's called 10 Weeks to Freedom from Emotional Eating. Stop struggling, stop doing it on your own, and come join us. It's an amazing, amazing journey, and it will just open up your life in so many ways. Now, I also want to invite you to join the Heal Your Hunger tribe. This is where I have special guests come and speak. This is where we support each other. This is where you can check in. Don't miss it. You can also comment on the podcast that you've heard. Join us there. It's a lot of fun. So you just go to Facebook and type in Heal Your Hunger tribe and request to join. So that's for emotional eaters and people who struggle with food and weight. So I hope you'll join us there. Okay, on to my topic for today, the number one weight loss secret most people miss. Oh my goodness. I'm going to beat my drum on this one. I am so going to beat my drum. And because people are missing this. You're missing this. Most people jump right over this. They put themselves in so many machinations, so many contortions to try to lose weight, try to affect their body, try to control their food. They're doing so many things and spending so much money and getting so few results because they're missing this one weight loss secret. They're missing it, and guess why? They're missing it because it's probably the hardest and the most uncomfortable. And when I say uncomfortable, I mean it brings up uncomfortable feelings. That's it. All we're talking about is feelings here. So the number one secret that most people miss when they're trying to lose weight is community. Okay, now I know you are, if you're anything like me and all the other emotional eaters I know in the world, you're trying to do it on your own. You're like, I'm going to get a handle on this. I'm online. I'm researching. I'm joining these courses and doing, filling out the forms. I'm listening to this, listening to that, and I'm trying to beat this thing, and it's not happening. And the reason why is you don't engage in community with other emotional eaters. I'm telling you, emotional eaters are the only people who are going to understand what you're going through. And this is what I needed in order to heal. I needed to be aligned and engaged with people, first of all, who had a solution for overcoming emotional eating, and people I could be in community with, I could share openly and honestly with. The number one enemy of healing from emotional eating is isolation. And we do it so well, don't we? We keep our thoughts to ourselves. We don't express our feelings. We just think and think and think and overthink and dwell and brood, right? And mope and deny and cover up. We live these double lives. We're out there. We can seem very sociable, right? Very sociable, very engaged with the world, but we have an inner life. We live a double life because when we go home and we're not at work, we're not at church, we're not with friends and family, we are in deep isolation, and we are eating, and we are hiding, and we are sneaking, and we are lying, and we are alone. This is a very lonely condition. I know it, I've lived it, and I suffered with it for years. And chances are you're doing some suffering yourself if you're doing this alone. So my experience is you cannot do it alone. This is a crippling condition. The problem with emotional eating is that it's not drug addiction, right? It's not drug addiction. It's not gambling addiction. It's not sex addiction. It's not something that has these terrible immediate consequences. But the consequences of being an emotional eater are just as dire, if not more dire. I mean, it's a slower death, right? I mean, we eat and eat and eat and eat bad foods, that hurt our bodies, and chemicals, and, we starve and we binge and we take these crazy supplements or drugs to try to affect our bodies. We do a lot of crazy stuff. But the consequences aren't as immediate as, let's say, drug addiction or alcoholism. We don't go down as fast. We slowly deteriorate. Our health gets gradually worse. Little health issues pop up every 5 years or so, and we deal with them. So it's not like we go bam, and we all of a sudden are struck with disaster. And too bad, right? In a way, we'd probably wake up to what we're doing sooner if we did have more dire consequences, but we don't. It's slow and it's gradual and it's painful and it's debilitating and it's destructive. But because it's slow, we deny. We very easily forget and deny what we're really putting our bodies through. And so, my wish for you is that you wake up to what you're doing to yourself. My wish for you is that you realize that you do not have to live this half life that you're living. I mean, you're living in mediocrity. You're settling for, just getting by. That is not the way God means for you to live. So I hope that you listen to this and wake up and get some fire in your belly for change, for doing something. And if you do, praise the Lord, and you're going to fall quickly if you don't get connected with community and connection with people who are on a healing path. Okay, so this is my wish for you, is you get fire in your belly for change, because you are killing yourself slowly, just muddling around, just making one promise after another and not following through. That's our way, right? Year after year, month after month, decade after decade. So my wish is that you get fire in your belly for change and you don't do it alone. So that is the number one weight loss secret most people miss, is they try to do it alone. And guess what? You can't, even if you're like, oh, I have, my mother, I check in with my mother and we talk, or, I tell my husband what I'm going through. It's not the same, okay? Your kids, your spouse, your parents, girlfriends who aren't emotional eaters. Maybe you've got some super healthy girlfriends who go to the gym every day. I could never understand people like that. It was not me. If it's you, kudos to you. But if it's not you and you have friends who are that way, they're not going to get it either, okay? Your therapist isn't going to get it. People who are not emotional eaters are not going to understand what it's like being powerless over a cookie or a Twinkie, okay? And because of that, you're going to stay in isolation. So even if you tell people what you're going through, if they are not experiencing the same thing, if they don't know what this struggle really is, which is a very lonely and isolating and internal struggle, you won't get that connection and that community that you need that will heal you. Connecting with other emotional eaters at the heart level is literally healing. It's not just a good idea, it literally heals your heart. You see, we're not hungry for food. Our hunger is so much deeper than that. We're broken. As emotional eaters, we're broken. We've been split in two by trauma, by circumstances that were beyond our control, by things that happened when we were children that were so hard to handle. Or perhaps you had a fairly good childhood, but something is standing between you and freedom, okay? And so you're broken. And when we're broken, we need to heal. We can't, diets are ridiculous when you consider how deeply hungry you are. A diet will not heal your hunger. Your hunger is deep and it has nothing to do with food. It's for connection, it's for security, it's for safety, and really, truthfully, it's for a oneness with God. That's really what we suffer from, is this sense of isolation and this sense of separateness from our Creator. And whatever you make, whatever you call that, it doesn't matter. It's that sense of oneness that is there, but we don't feel it, okay? We are one. We are one with each other. We are one with our Creator, with God, with Divine Spirit. We are one. That is a fact. That's the truth. But we don't feel it. And partially because we're eating. So we don't feel it, so we eat to feel it. And then our eating makes us feel it less, right? Because we're so disgusted with ourselves. We're so disgusted by our behavior. And it makes us feel separate and alone. It makes us hate ourselves. And how can we feel one with Spirit when we are, totally flagellating ourselves and calling ourselves all kinds of terrible names? It makes us feel so separate, our eating behavior. So friends and family don't get it, okay? And if you're just trying to do it on your own and you're not even talking to friends and family, I'm telling you, when you're with yourself, you're in bad company, okay? You're not your friend. You're not your friend because you do tell yourself lies about who you are. You tell yourself lies about, you call yourself names, you put yourself down, I know for myself, I call myself weak, I call myself, lame, a loser. Terrible names, spineless, because I was so powerless over food. So when you're hanging out with yourself, you're in a bad neighborhood and you need to get out fast, and you need to be in a good neighborhood. That means getting out of your head and being with people who understand you, truly understand you. It's so healing to be on a call with a bunch of emotional eaters from around the globe and realize, oh my God, they've done the same thing with food that I've done. It's so, so healing. I did a video many years ago, a garbage eating video. You can look it up on YouTube, where I reenacted my garbage eating. And what I mean by that is I would have these terrible binges. I wasn't a puker, so I couldn't be bulimic. God knows I tried, but my anatomically couldn't do it. And I'm so grateful. I didn't go down that road. And if you couldn't, be grateful also, because that's a whole nother ride, and it's takes on a life of its own and is so self-destructive. So I would binge and I would eat, I was a binger. I love to binge. I love to get my ice cream and my cookies and my Doritos, chips, and, the salty and the sweet and the ooey and the gooey and chewy, and get them to, buy these foods, have them on hand, sit in front of the TV and just completely check out. But I could only fit so much in my stomach. So I'd eat as much food as possible, over a couple hours. And then I would feel so stuffed, I couldn't eat anymore. And the rest of the food was disgusting to me. Like, the thought of eating another bite was so gross because I was stuffed and felt sick. So I'd look at this rest of the remaining food and I'd be like, gross. I don't want anything to do with this food. I'm never eating that again. It's disgusting. I'd throw it out and be like, that's it, never again. Then I'd pass out because I was so, jacked on sugar and I was coming down from being high on sugar, and I was basically in a coma, a carb coma, and I would pass out. And then whenever I'd wake up, a couple hours later, I'd have a little bit more food room in my stomach because I had digested some of that and some had moved through my digestive tract, and all of a sudden there's a little room. I'd first of all stretch the hell out of my stomach, so it was much bigger than it would be if I'd eaten normal food in normal amounts. So I had the stretched out stomach, I digested some, and then I was hungry again. Or at least I had a little space. Maybe not hungry. I was probably still full. But point is, I renegotiated that decision to never eat that food again. And I went and retrieved it from the garbage. And there you have it. I went and retrieved it from the garbage and felt disgusting. So this is what I did. And I basically swore I'd never eat that stuff again. And I was there eating it. So I reenacted this on YouTube, and I basically got over 30,000 hits so far on this. And the comments are from people all around the globe who said, oh my God, I've done that. I've done that. So the point is, there are jillions of people doing these crazy things with food and living in total isolation and beating the crap out of themselves, and you're likely one of them. So when we come in community with others who have done these crazy things, we get each other, and that heals our lonely hearts, that heals that brokenness that we suffer from, and that perpetuates emotional eating. Are you picking up what I'm laying down here? Okay, so really, really important. In my book, I have an amazing statistic here. It's a book called Connected, The Surprising Power of Our Social Networks and How They Shape Our Lives, How Your Friends Affect Everything You Feel, Think, and Do. And Harvard researchers Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler proved that you have a 57% greater risk of becoming obese if your friend becomes obese, okay? But guess what? If you're hanging out with people who are on a healing path, you also have a 57% chance of being on that healing path, or continuing and staying consistent with that healing path as well. So it works both ways, negatively and positively. Okay, who you're hanging out with really matters. So when you hang out with people who are striving to integrate self-care secrets into their life, when you have people who are striving to eat 3 meals and not nibble and snack throughout the day, that has a major impact on your own habits. And that's why the 10 Weeks to Freedom from Emotional Eating program is so powerful, because you're in community with other people who are literally on this healing path, healing from emotional eating. They get each other. We hang out once a week on Zoom calls, talking about these things and talking about spiritual growth and emotional growth, and speaking up for ourselves and being clear with our boundaries and having self-respect and self-esteem. And imagine the exponential improvement on your life when you're having those conversations, when you're in that kind of community with people who truly get you. It is so heart-filling. When I get off the calls with my tribe from 10 Weeks to Freedom, man, I am flying so high, it's not even funny. I feel so great because my own soul is filled. It heals my hunger as well. That's why I love my business. It's like, it's an awesome, thing to be doing in the world. It gives me creativity. It gives me an opportunity to speak and teach and connect and love people. But it also literally heals my hunger as well. So anytime you're in community with other emotional eaters on a healing path, and teaching and supporting and helping each other grow, giving each other atta girls because you're doing good things or you had a win, boy, oh boy, it just up-levels not only your relationship with food, but your entire life. I mean, I wake up happy every day. I am happy. I'm excited about the day because I'm out of myself. I'm not in that terrible, dark place of isolation and muddling through and trying to figure it all out on my own, and hoping nobody knows my secrets, hoping nobody finds out the crazy, yucky things I do with food. So I don't want you to live that way anymore. I want you to break out of this isolation. Your isolation and pride, okay, let's call it what it is. We're afraid to let people know us because we have that terrible, condition of pride where we don't want people to see underneath our facade. Okay, so there's definitely pride going on there. Fear, of course, ego, all these things that keep us trapped in isolation, which will never get us out of where we want to get out of. It'll never break you free from your bondage to food. Getting out of that isolation is your only hope for truly having the relationship with food that you want, having the peace and the freedom and the lightness of being that you really desire. So this is the number one weight loss secret that most people are missing. I mean, I'd say probably 99% of the world that's trying to do something about their weight, they are missing this essential, vital quality, and I don't want you to miss it. I do not want you to miss it. I don't want you to spend another day saying, I can do this, I will do this, or tomorrow I'm going to do this. Stop making empty promises. Like, notice, has it worked so far? No. So I really want this for yourself. I want this for everybody, and you have no idea the impact you can have on somebody else's life when you choose to say yes to yourself and yes to breaking out of the isolation and the pride and reaching out for help and being in community with other emotional eaters. You can do this through 10 Weeks to Freedom. Yes, I am definitely stumping for that program because it is so powerful and so life-enhancing. It's amazing. Everybody who takes this program, they're just raving about it because it is breaking them out and healing their wounds and helping them heal their hunger. And weight loss is a natural consequence of that. So I love you. I support you. I'm here for you. But you got to take action. You got to say yes. Stop muddling around and trying to do it on your own. Okay? Thank you so much. I love you, and I will see you on the next show. Don't forget to join the Heal Your Hunger Tribe on Facebook. Take care.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.